Hey! Hey there! Today I'm going to show you the updated build for every Serena builds I have all in one video. People might say that they already figured out Serena. Simple, max your HP through Arche tuning by taking the yellow HP node. The reason for this is because Serena's redemption judgment scale through maximum HP. But what if I told you that taking yellow HP on Arche tuning was not the optimal build all along? Well, at least ever since Mutant Cell was dropped. A lot of builds out there for Void Erosion Purge and even for Restored Relic mobbing build take the yellow HP route before multi-hit or attack. Even now. I'm going to show you the optimal build for her in terms of mobbing, Void Erosion Purge, bossing, and Ice Maiden, each with their showcase at the end. Let's start off by discussing how component core affected Serena. First, I will premise this by saying that this Arche tuning is a lot better than the right one even with lesser HP. And with the new component core, it is nothing but an absurd amount of buff to Serena since we already were using a low HP build that was already better than the HP build. And when we apply the HP calculations bonus damage to the best Albion Cavalry build from Redemption's Judgment based from the compared Arche tuning tree with the new component cores, we can see that going defense neutralization is better than going yellow HP on Arche tuning by a lot. Now people might ask, how do we apply defense neutralization? Do we cast Repentance every fight? Redemption's Judgment does actually apply defense neutralization. And it applies because Redemption's Judgment damage always comes right after the bullet or weapon damage. And the first bullet will not be able to deplete the shields on elites. Now let's talk about whether to use him or not. Using him will not only buff your allies, but also will boost the distance of your third ability. The only downside of this module is that it has a longer animation than without the him module. And if you've watched my weapon videos before, you might already be familiar with average shot. Like Glay, Serena's third ability does not mean no reload. To simplify things, we can consider the cast animation as the reload same as Glay. The animation time difference without using him is only 500 milliseconds, while using him increases that to 600 milliseconds. That may look like it does not matter, but I guarantee you that it does. Especially on weapons that have high fire rate and low magazine count, as you can see in the example here. This does not mean that using him is a bad thing. It depends on situations and contents. But one thing is for sure, if you're using third ability a lot, you definitely will be losing a lot of DPS value when using him. Do we use 2 range modules for Redemption's Judgment? Please do not, unless you want your initial range high. But it will be a loss in value at higher quantum domain stacks. The reason why is because the ability only has 200% max expandable range. Skill expansion alone, with Quantum Domain, will cover that amount at max stacks. So with that out of the way, let's start by talking about the updated mobbing build. Serena already has an absurd amount of damage, way too much for weaker contents, even against the bosses. So instead of maximizing everything into DPS, I came up with a build that balances quality of life with having unlimited mana without using a bug, and survivability with only minimal loss in DPS. The more I use the Restored Relic Redemption build, the less I want to use the Divine Surge build. I would rather be at a distance shooting homing rockets everywhere. A couple of things you need to remember for this build is that make sure that you cast your 4th ability when the multi-talented cooldown is up. Also make sure to cast Repentance before shooting your Restored Relic when the stage starts. And this will guarantee you to never run out of ammo as long as you don't waste them, especially with this new Arche tuning build thanks to these nodes. This build will melt everything including bosses. You can also even use this against hard colossus and it will still melt. For Void Erosion, there will be 1 build, but 2 playstyles. First is the Comfort build. This is very good for casual and new players who have not yet mastered Serena's flights, movements, spawns, and the Void Erosion layout. The build will be utilizing the Malevolent because this allows you to just stay on the ground and not worry too much about flying for people who cannot fly Serena. And you'll see that both the Malevolent and Serena build will be completely different from the very first Void Erosion Purge Malevolent video I uploaded a long time ago. And most of you might ask, why do we not increase our HP through increased shield and overwhelming HP, as well as why we no longer go into the yellow HP node on Arche tuning. The DPS difference is shown in this calculation here. And because we now go multi-hit and defense neutralization on our Arche tuning, we can now also go multi-hit on our Malevolent. But remember that multi-hit does not affect the weapon's unique abilities. This will also buff the weapons we use for the boss, namely Albion Cavalry Gun for the first phase and the last Dagger for the second phase. The second playstyle is going to be for the speed runners. Now you will be utilizing your Flight and Albion Cavalry Gun instead of the Malevolent. Now, I will warn you guys. Using this build will not magically get you in the top 100 leaderboards, because one major factor for speedrunning is your flight control and layout mastery. Without these, you will have a difficult time competing. I personally cannot do this, but you will see in a lot of other speedrunning videos how they optimally move. The Albion Cavalry gun build is the same, but you can switch multi-hit induction to rifling reinforcement if your weak point aiming is very low. Albion Cavalry gun's DPS will reign supreme over the Malevolent as shown here. But you have to remember that the cogs bounce 5 times, and I did not include that in the calculation here. Only the initial bounce to the target. You will also use the same last Dagger build, and that build will literally defeat the boss in just less than 1 second if you have a good weak point aim. The next build is for the normal Ice Maiden. It's still the same as my 3-second kill, except that we now have a better quality of life when fighting the boss because of the spawn and time changes. You'll see in the showcase later, and there will be text explanations for people who do not know or who are still struggling with the Mortal Kombat combo. For bossing, just use the Void Erosion Albion Cavalry gun and Serena build. That's it for the video guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
Do not fall. Flames. This is divine punishment.
This is HQ. Troops are on the ground.
Into the
Transport
light.
is en route to standby position. Best of luck, Descendant.
Impudent bastards!
Descendant, we're detecting Arche life signs inside a vaulted structure.
My shield falters! Do not fall!
Mission
Death to the blasphemous. We can do it. I have punished the wicked. Death to the corrupt.